Today we're going to talk about how a new set of stairs can transform a home. My name is Adrienne and I'm a designer at Lamont Bros. So yeah, for this client, he kind of just recently bought the house and it was very compartmentalized, and the stairs to get upstairs was through the living room, through a hall, through the office on the total back side of the house. And so we wanted to flip that so you walk through the main door and then upstairs instead of having to go all the way through. So in doing so, we opened up the walls to the kitchen and moved a doorway into the hallway and then made that office almost into a bedroom. We knocked down a wall, and typically without needing engineering, your span is roughly 6 feet. And so we tried to keep it within that 6 feet so we didn't have to push into needing too much engineering. But we made that span 6 feet to basically let as much light in as possible. In doing so, we kind of kept a little wall by the cabinets on the north side and then kept the chimney on the south side and didn't have to affect, the cabinets or countertops, and just kind of left those alone. So he chose a European white oak, definitely popular now. A lot of it stems from durability. White oak is a pretty dense wood and it's good for stair treads, which is what we put on the treads. And we were also kind of trying to match a picture frame he had for stain, and this flooring happened to work out. Also, European oak has a lot of pattern to it and variety. You can kind of see in some of the photos where, there's a couple knots here and there, but they're not too dark like knotty pine. The flooring was pre-finished, and then the treads and the handrail were stained to match that frame or the flooring. Yes, we totally reconfigured the orientation, and with doing that, we were able to grandfather a couple aspects into it because we weren't totally relocating it. And we're in Portland. Portland has a little bit of different rules when it comes to stair location and head height and all those fun things. So we were able to grandfather a couple things in, and with it being an attic on the upper floor, we had a little bit of leniency with the head height because of the pitched roof. Originally, we were kind of gonna close it off. And so we came up with this creative idea of kind of giving an angled closet opening, which followed the stair stringers, and kind of creating just a little bit of storage in there. It's a functioning bedroom, so you need a little bit of storage. What we went with is a cable railing. There's kind of some fun aspects to that of just knowing the parts needed for it. Like we need to have newels, and we had to have our intermediate balusters, and then, the parts to those. Then we had to have a handrail on the other side of it, but we didn't want that to be black. And so we ended up doing wood instead. And to kind of bring in more light, because he does get a lot of light upstairs, we decided to do that same railing upstairs instead of doing, a half wall or different wood railing. So this style I'd call kind of a minimalist style. We ended up calling it the Apple Store style. He kind of came up with that. He was just like, I want it to kind of look like an Apple Store. I was like, okay, well, I can do that. That's easy to do. So there's a lot more straight lines, not a whole bunch of curves. So like in the railing, there's square railing. And then something noticeable is like on the stair treads, they're not rounded noses. They are more of a square nose. And it's not as much of an overhang, but obviously we have to keep it for code still. Another thing is, your risers are painted, and so all you have is the wood tread, and the side is white instead of it just being all wood. Yeah, so we have a couple different types of vents in here. We have the area vents, which are on the floors, which is more of a flush style where all you see is a trim, and then a wood piece goes into it. And then we have that same style in the side of the stairs, because we had some HVAC ducting in the stair area. And so we had to put a vent on the side. So instead of wood on the front face, it's like drywall material and it's painted. So it's very minimal. It's definitely subtle, definitely minimal. And like I said, kind of that sleek Apple store. Yes, the baseboards are a little taller than, I don't want to say normal, but they're fairly tall. Kind of worked out because looking at kind of some of these photos, it kind of runs right to the tread here. So it just kind of continuous line throughout. Yeah, I guess a lot of it is like kind of looking at the space and seeing, is it realistic? You know, walking into the space right as you enter beforehand, you had that wall there and it was pretty empty. And we went through a lot of iterations to, you know, figure out what felt right with the stairs. And this iteration of having it right at the entry was kind of the best feeling, and it still made it feel open without protruding into the living room as much. And so you still get, you know, that decent sized couch in there and having space for your dining room table also.